As the fall semester gets underway at campuses across the UW system President Jay Rothman is joining the show this morning. Thanks so much for being here.
Absolutely. Good to be with you.
Since you were last here with us, the budget was finalized for the state, and the Joint Finance Committee withheld $32 million from the system in the hopes that universities would cut diversity, equity, and inclusion programs. Since then, has the system cut any of those positions?
I think at this point, I made my position on DE&I very clear. I think it's important. It's important to drive student success, and that's where we are focusing our efforts. But we're excited about the fact that there is $32 million in supplemental funding available from the Joint Finance Committee. It's focused on workforce development. Wisconsin is in a war for talent. We know that. We don't have enough engineers and nurses and data scientists, and that list kind of goes on and on. We think we're going to put a compelling proposal in front of the JFC to secure that additional funds, because these are opportunities to support the state of Wisconsin. Wisconsin needs more workforce in order to fill the jobs that our employers have created, and to the extent that we don't fill those jobs are going to leave the state, and that's not going to be good for us long term.
How do you make the argument in front of the Joint Finance Committee that when officials present this plan for workforce development in that way, how can you show that DEI positions are not a waste of money? Because if you are very clear that DEI positions are a worthy thing for the system, but lawmakers are hesitant and don't believe that, how can you convince them that way?
You know, I think we have to look at it from the standpoint that in Wisconsin, we are not simply graduating enough people in order to fill the jobs that we need. If we're going to get the people that we need from the state into the university system and graduated, we need to provide a pathway for them. So from recruitment to retention to graduation. Our state is a diverse state. And we need to make sure that we are attractive and can attract those students that will help us fill those workforce needs. I think that's compelling in my mind. And diversity is a broad concept. You know, I think sometimes diversity gets very, very narrowly defined. It's not. It is diversity of thought. It is certainly veteran status. It's just students with disabilities. Certainly the ethnic minorities are a piece of that, but it's first generation students. It's students of lower socioeconomic means coming into our university. We need to be able to support all of those students, again, to hit recruitment, retention, and ultimately graduation to serve the workforce needs of Wisconsin. I'm going to say it again, Wisconsin is in a war for talent. We don't have enough people. The university is the single largest source of talent generation the state has. It is important for us to be able to, in our role of serving the state of Wisconsin, because that's why our universities exist, it is important that we be able to fulfill that function. And I think we'll be able to make a very compelling case to the Joint Finance Committee, and I look forward to that discussion.
Okay, and so before I wrap up this little section about this, I just want to be clear. So no DEI positions at this point have been cut.
No, we are looking toward continuing to reposition the DE&I space toward student success. It has always been there, but we have student success throughout our universities, through academic advising, through all of those positions that help support our students be successful in our universities. And we want to make sure that we get them, that we retain them, that we graduate them, so that we can fulfill the state's workforce needs.
Let's talk about funding challenges now. A number of universities in the system, UW-Platteville and Parkside, are considering. UW-Oshkosh, we know, is going ahead with either furloughs, layoffs, workforce reductions. At this point, as these universities consider their separate plans, has the system in general come up with a financial recovery plan that can help these universities within the system?
Well, we approached it and said, listen, and one of the things I advocated for when I came a little bit over a year ago is that we have to be good financial stewards of our resources. And part of that was including in our strategic plan a requirement that our universities eliminate structural deficits where they were spending more money than they were bringing in and relying on reserves. You know, in the last, over a period of time, and this is really a 10-year period, but more recently, you think about what's happened. We've had enrollment decline. And that's in part based on demographics in the state, but more importantly, the percentage of high school graduates going on to higher education, whether that be in the tech colleges or in the university system, is declining. I'd submit that is really not good for the state of Wisconsin. We need to bend that curve, but we've experienced that. We've experienced over 10 years flat to declining state aid. on an inflation-adjusted basis. We experienced a decade-long tuition freeze, 8 years of which were imposed by the legislature, and then we experienced substantial inflation. That created that perfect storm that we really needed to address some of those issues. I'm confident those universities will do that. We are going to assist them and work with them in doing that, all consistent with our strategic objective of eliminating those structural deficits in the next few years.
Can you share any specific ideas that the system is working with?
Yeah, sure. We have talked to all of the universities about what around personnel you can do, what about program array that you can look at, what about other sources of generating additional revenue. There is huge demand, I think, particularly in the business community, for credentialing. Not a full year, not a full degree, but somebody perhaps has a degree and wants a course in artificial intelligence or in supply chain management. Those types of things, which can also help support the state, because that's what we're there for, but also generate some additional money. And then on the expense side, you can think about, you can look at the personnel issue, and layoffs aren't the only thing. You can look at working through attrition, voluntary retirement, driving additional efficiencies into the system. There's a variety of different ways, and we are working with each one of the universities to address those issues. Each university is unique. Each of their solutions will be different, but I'm confident that each of them will find that way to the financial stability so that they are there and continue to provide the quality of education that our students expect and deserve, and quite frankly, the state expects and deserves.
Okay, Jay Rothman, thank you so much for the time this morning.
My pleasure. Thank you.